Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing Yellowstone in its entirety from season 1 all the way up to season 5 part 1, with part 2, the final season, expected to come later this year. The show was created and written by Taylor Sheridan, who's responsible for films like Sicario, Hell or High Water and Wind River, and also responsible for TV shows like Mayor of Kingstown and Tulsa King. But Yellowstone was his first TV baby, and it has since spawned a universe in and of itself with different spin-offs and more spin-offs yet to come once this flagship show ends. The show stars Kevin Costner in the lead role with a supporting cast including Kelly Riley, Wes Bentley, Cole Hauser and Luke Grimes. And the show is all about the Dutton family, this family of ranchers or ranchers I suppose, who basically face a lot of adversaries, be they corporate, be they nature, be they personal. They face a lot of threats, and it's all about keeping their legacy and their family business intact. It's very much a modern Western, like a lot of Taylor Sheridan's works. A lot of personal love seems to bleed into this project, particularly surrounding attitudes and explorations of the modern West. And what really interested me about Yellowstone as I made my way through it was how different it felt to other modern day big TV shows, mainly in terms of character development and character arcs. If you think about most successful TV shows today, the main protagonist, say hello and goodbye to Gus. You know, in most successful TV shows these days, our main protagonists undergo this kind of radical transformation as the seasons progress. They're normally not the same people at the end as we meet at the start. And Yellowstone, interestingly, is the opposite of that. The Dutton family, for the most part, are a very stubborn and traditional family who seem impervious to change. And the conflict of the show is about the external pressures and the external world trying to force change onto them and their pushback against it. And while we do get character development in small and incremental moments, the show is much more about the protection and preservation of these values, of these legacies, and of this way of life. And the show is also fascinating in that way because the main adversary is change. And that manifests in various forms, in legislation, in corporate rivals, in natural disasters, in personal differences. Sure, the show takes it to some extreme lengths with what this family managed to get away with, but it is still very compelling drama. The performances are absolutely top tier. I'd say this show is anchored and bolstered by 3 central performances. Kevin Costner as John Dutton, the lead character. This is the sort of role that Kevin Costner absolutely thrives in, the patriarch of this family, who seems incredibly authoritative and prideful, but also masks a man barely holding it together underneath. Then you've got Kelly Riley, she is an absolute unfiltered and unpredictable powerhouse, who probably has one of the better character arcs in the show, as we learn more about her past and her more tender and soft sides when she's with the right company. And that brings us on to Cole Hauser, who plays Rip, a man who is basically an adopted son to this family and has been with them since his childhood. He's the tough as nails right-hand man on the ranch, but again manages to bestow his character with a layer of humility and humanity that makes him never less than compelling to watch. Those are our 3 top performances in this show, and definitely what keep you watching through the weaker moments. But it does have a fantastic supporting cast. The show really tries to craft the Yellowstone Ranch as a community in and of itself, and does make an effort to give everyone their moment in that. When it's not busy with these really dramatic conflicts, the show can also be incredibly wholesome because of that. The community and the shared responsibility in making the ranch function and thrive in the modern world provides the show with some of its most heartwarming moments. Another major win for this show is just the locations and the practical scenery that they shoot with. It is such a beautiful show to watch, and it immediately hoodwinks you into the mountains and the plains and pastures of Montana. It's such an immersive and idyllic backdrop to film a show like this on, because you can so instantly get invested in why the family want to protect this land from any developments of property or commercialization of this place. Very much a little Garden of Eden, and that just makes the visuals so easy to watch. Country music might not be to everyone's taste, but it absolutely elevates Yellowstone to the max. It has a fantastic soundtrack, as well as actors in the show who provide some music. I love Yellowstone, but I can admit that it has flaws, and the main flaw for me with Yellowstone is that it does meander in terms of narrative and plot. There are a lot of times when not necessarily having a big bad adversary or an antagonist to face does not work in this show's favour. Each season gets quite repetitive when it comes to the running of the ranch, personal squabbles that don't necessarily seem to mine anything new from character relationships, and therefore plot lines that feel like retreads of previous seasons. And as joyful and just easy to watch as it is, just seeing these characters run the ranch and deal with like small trivial problems in their day-to-day lives, the show needs a bit more of an anchor, I think, to propel it, particularly as we hurtle into the final seasons, which is where I think it stagnated most for me. Season 3 and the early episodes in season 4 really ramped up the tension and the dramatic propulsion in this show. And season 3 probably gave us the perfect blend of that easy watching, compelling ranch life with higher stakes and dramatic conflict arising from it. Season 4 felt much more like a lethargic fallout, which I didn't mind. I feel like the slow and meditative pace of season 4 really provided a nice counterpoint to season 3. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy season 4. But then going into season 5, it was glaringly obvious that this show had a lot of mileage to do to really work to amp up the stakes going into these final sets of episodes. And I'm still not entirely sure, particularly now as well with the drama of Kevin Costner's involvement being a bit dubious in these final episodes, whether this show is going to be able to land it in a satisfying, narratively cathartic way. As it stands, Yellowstone for me is an absolute must-watch. I'd say there's not really a show like it on TV. The characters and the performances really draw you into this world and really make you just want to keep watching, even if certain plot threads and character relationships feel a bit like they're recycling old material. So there are some character regulars like that who feel like we've never mined into their full potential. There are characters who come and go who we wish we could have got more with. But the show is primarily about the Dutton family, and the Dutton family are the most captivating characters on this show. But if you are an avid viewer or are considering watching Yellowstone, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please also consider liking and subscribing, guys, for more content like this. It's always really appreciated. And in the meantime, we'll see you for the next vid.